Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Soulful Abundance with Chris. I am Chris Williams, and I am so super excited to introduce one of my dear friends and colleagues, Irene McKenna. She is a human design strategist for women entrepreneurs, and she is going to be here to share all about how you can use your human design to help you make not only more money in your business, but also enjoy it and not come from this like forced place, but really use what your human design is to align with the way that you also want to build and grow your business. So Irene, I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. I am so excited to share. I mean, I could talk about human design all day, every day, just about.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, let's just start with what is human design? Like, I think there's a lot of people that might, kind of have an idea of what it is, or they might even know, like, well, yeah, I took the test and I'm a generator, but not really sure, like, well, what the heck does that mean and how do I use it? So we'll definitely get into all of that. But like, where did human design come from? What exactly is it?
Yeah, so I heard one time that human design is like a if a personality test and astrology got together and like had a baby, right? So it's this beautiful synthesis of ancient wisdom, right? So it's the Western astrology, it's the Hindu chakras, it's the Chinese I Ching, the Jewish Kabbalah, and then you have this science side of it, which is quantum physics, and they kind of come together and give you this energetic map of
Hmm.
how your energy is designed to flow. What it really is helping you kind of get back into your body, listening and connecting to your higher self,
Hmm.
because the mind has always been the thing that tries to make all of our decisions, right?
Right.
And it can analyze till kingdom come
Hmm.
and never come up with a definitive answer because certainty isn't going to be there.
Hmm.
But the answers lie in our body when we know how to connect to that energy and to decrease that resistance that we experience in building a business, for example.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it really is just what I find when I work with clients. It's just like, well, that's exactly who I am. That makes that
Hmm.
makes sense. And it helps us reconnect to the parts of ourselves that we lost connection to, reclaim them, if you will, and let go
Right.
of the parts that aren't ours. So it shows us where we've potentially picked up stories and beliefs. Because as you know, like two people could go through the same experience and have
Hmm.
totally different beliefs come from it.
Yeah.
And in your human design, it can give you guidance into why you went the direction that you went.
Mm. I love that. I love that so much. And one of the things that I know that share, since I get to be in your world as well, is kind of like how to actually use your personal human design. And I think that that is something that is really, kind of missing out there. You can take all the quizzes, but if you're not sure exactly how to implement and use the information, and that's what you're just so brilliant at, is sharing, okay, you are a projector or you are a generator. And so these are some assets that you want to make sure that you are including. And these are some things that you need to be on the lookout for. So will you share just a little bit about, how your clients who are entrepreneurs are using their human design to not only to create more peace and calm in their life and in their business, but actually, move forward in the way that they want to move forward to in their business?
Yes, absolutely. Before I do that, I will just say I totally get what you're saying, right? You put your birth information in there because it does use that, like your
Yeah.
time, date of birth, and location, and it prints out this like alien roadmap. And you're like, what do I do
It is.
with
I'm
this,
like,
right?
okay,
And
thanks.
it says like you're a 2-4 generator
Yeah.
with sacral authority, and you're like, what does any of that mean? And so
Yeah.
that's where having someone decipher it for you, but not so that you need to read human design. You don't need to
Mhm.
understand human design, just your design and how to use that.
Yeah.
And so that's where it comes into play with my clients. Because
Mhm.
when we know, again, how we decrease resistance, because every type, so there's 5 human design types, every type has a strategy. And that strategy is really how we are meant to dance with the universe, if you will, like how we are meant to kind of go after what we want. That's not
Yeah.
really the right way because most types don't go after what they want, but it's how we engage and dance with the universe without the resistance. So, for example, as
Mm-hmm.
you're a generator and you have that sacral response, that like in your body,
Mm-hmm.
that I could ask you a yes or no question, it could be like, Chris, are you wearing a black sweater? Like, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have that response. And so you're designed to wait for things to respond to in your outer reality. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things I love about your program that you say is like, people asked for, marketing sports. So we brought in marketing sports, like all these things you had to respond to, you could
Mm.
then do. But without it, you may not have realized, like, oh, that was
Yes.
necessary, but
Yeah.
given something to respond to. Or rather than, trying to cold call people, right? Which I know you don't recommend anyway, but still working out there, you want to respond to things that light you up, that give you that yes. You know,
Mm-hmm.
manifestors have a different strategy, projectors have a different one. And so when you work with that piece alone, you suddenly are kind of like opening these energetic doors. So you're not wasting it going
Mm.
all over the place. Because if you have this idea, I'll use vacation for an example. You have this
Mm-hmm.
idea to go on vacation and you just go book it.
Yeah.
Now, you could have an amazing vacation, or your plane could be delayed, your luggage gets lost. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
possible either way.
Mm-hmm.
But using this example, if we then wait, you're like, oh, I have this idea to go on vacation. And then you have a postcard arrive in the mail of like this Caribbean island, and you're like, uh-huh. And a friend says to you, oh, you look really tired. Maybe you should go on vacation. You're like, uh-huh. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of telling you like it's the right time. Like I
Yeah.
know that this is what I want to do versus I think I'm tired. I just want to go on vacation. But actually what you really need is something else. And you're just
Uh,
using that as the solution.
yeah, I love that. I'd love to dive into if we could just chat a little bit about each one of the five. So I know you talked about the generator. Would you share a little bit about each one of the human design? Um, I don't know what
Sure.
to call
Go
them.
ahead.
They're
Types.
not
Yeah.
personalities. They're not like I'm like I don't know. What do we
It's
call them?
basically like the role that you play. Like if
Yeah,
you're if this is a play, it's like the role that you're playing is the
hmm.
role of generator.
Got
Okay.
it.
So if we look at the five types, I kind of like to almost think of it as like the manifestation process. And when I use
Mhm.
the word like manifestor to describe a type, it's not talking about manifesting the attraction principles. It's the
Right.
name of this type. Because we all manifest, like we all can do that.
We're all
This is just the
creating.
type.
Yeah.
Yes. But I like to think of the types almost in that way. So we have our manifestors, and they are here to initiate. They have this
Hmm.
internal connection to source that gives them the urge to take action.
Hmm.
As a child, this might be like, I wonder what happens if I turn the faucet on and let it overflow. Right? These are the kids that like are doing, they're the kids, I want to go to the park, and they walk out the door without saying anything and go to the
Oh
park.
my
Like
God,
they're
that's my middle
here.
child. That's my middle child. I'm like, get off the kitchen table, dude.
Yes. And so they just have this urge to do, and it may not make sense. The key for them is being in alignment. You're not getting
Hmm.
the urges, you're not getting the correct urges if you're not in alignment. So they're here to
Hmm.
initiate. Now, because of that, there's two things. Their aura can be kind of closed and repelling because nobody's supposed to get in their way. They're here to initiate. It's the first
Hmm.
step. So what they need to do is inform others before they take action
Hmm.
to decrease that resistance, because otherwise they could be met with anger, confusion, right? So like my husband's a manifesting generator, so there's still some manifesting tendencies. And sometimes he'll like get this idea of like he needs to go to the store, and he like walks out the door, goes, I don't know where he is, doesn't say anything.
Hmm.
And he comes back, and I'm like irritated, right? Now if he
Hmm.
had just said, hey babe, I gotta run to the store, to
Hmm.
get some charcoal or something, I'm like,
Right.
great, no problem. So it's that informing piece. So that starts the manifestation process. And then we have the manifesting generators and the generators, which at their core are generator types. The
Hmm.
manifesting generators will have manifesting, they're hybrids. So they'll have manifesting characteristics and generator, but their strategy is as a generator. So
Hmm.
then we have, and so the manifesting generators and the generators are here to quote unquote do the work of bringing things into the physical plane. It's not
Mm,
in a sense that like, well, why do I have to work and nobody else does? No, you have that sustainable energy when you follow what lights you up to master the right work. And
mm,
mastery really is about mastering what it means to learn, mastering what it means to be human. It's not what you do. Like human design isn't going to tell you like, well, Chris, you should be a coach. Like
mhm,
it's not going to tell you you should be a nurse or a teacher. Human design gives you guidance on how you are to be
mhm,
in what you do.
mm,
And I've peeked at your design, as you know, and it just is in such alignment with the work that you do. And so mastery is about bringing things into the physical plane. So that's what our generators and our manifesting generators do by following what lights them up in their gut. They are taking what the manifester has initiated. Oh, yeah, I want to do that.
mm,
And then creating it. Okay.
That's beautiful.
Then we have our projectors, and our projectors are like the guides and the seers. They're like overlooking it and they can see like how to get from A to Z. Like they're here to master system.
Mm,
Now, projectors, I find often almost get the most out of human design because they can be some of the most misunderstood simply because
mm,
humanity's not really ready for them. In a
mhm,
sense, because projectors, because they have this wisdom that they can see all of this, but they need to be recognized and invited to share their wisdom.
mm,
Now, as children, these can be the ones labeled as bossy,
mm,
dominating, know-it-alls, right? Because they're here to share. And then they're told to, who do you think you are? Why? Don't tell me what to do, right?
mhm,
I have a projector son, and finding this out was transformational in how I engage with him because I know that he has this deep need to be seen. Now, as humans, we have a deep need to be seen and heard to feel
mhm.
love.
Yeah.
And projectors have that like if you think of like this is my cup that you need to fill with your love for me, right?
Mhm.
Projectors have like this cup like this big. Yes.
Giant. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they can come being left with something's wrong with me,
Mm.
or no, I'm not heard, I'm not loved. They can have
Too
these inner
much.
critics.
Yeah.
Yes, they can have these inner critics that are just the loudest. But what
Hmm.
they are here to do is they need to wait for the invitation. And this isn't like,
Hmm.
well, why do I have to wait? It's because the right people will be ready for their wisdom.
Hmm.
And they're not here to share it with everybody. They need to be recognized for their unique wisdom. And then people are ready because they
Hmm.
can see so into the depths of people and kind of like project that out there that people need to understand that they can trust this projector. And so
Yeah.
that's where the invitation comes in. And then we have the reflector, and the reflector is less than 1% of the population. So if we think about, they're like, it's been said, like the canary in the coal mine. They will tell us the health of our community
Mm.
by how well they are thriving. So
Mm.
they are kind of like the barometer for how well the process is working. So they all the types are imperative and they all work together to create
Hmm.
what exists.
Hmm.
It's when we are trying to work outside of our type or we don't understand our type that we get in the way of this process. But when we can understand it and work with it, it all just kind of flows.
Yes. So, and then what we want to do as far as like, how are we taking those principles into our business? So, for example, as a generator, we're responding. And when we know that we're like, in alignment with saying yes to what lights us up from our gut, right? We
Sure.
know that that is what's meant for us. And so we're going to continue to choose those things because that is going to allow us to feel in harmony or in balance in our business in order to do our work. Am I getting that right?
Yes. And
Okay.
so in business, now this doesn't mean like I have to wait for the invitation to build a website. No.
Right.
Like we are all here to share our passion, share our gifts. The
Mm-hmm.
key is we're sharing them from a place of joy, right? From a place
Yeah.
of abundance, not
Yeah.
from a place of hustle. But what
Yeah.
that looks like is so, for example, manifestors in their marketing, because they are here to inform, it goes both ways. So they would be like, um, for your program, I'm going to show you how to sell authentically from your heart. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
informing people what you're going to do. Now,
Mm-hmm.
as a generator, manifesting generator, it's that yes or no question. Do you want to learn how to sell from your heart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Projectors, it would be like, what would it feel like to be in the full expression of selling from heart? Like, what would that look like for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's inviting them into this bigger story. And then reflectors are here to kind of sample. So that's one example of how you can use it in your business. It might be for a generator, manifesting generator, that you see a post or an email from somebody else and you're like, uh-huh. And you're like, okay, what in here is telling me that I want to talk about this with my audience? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying the same thing, I'm not copying, but what in here is the message that I'm doing? Something is lighting
Right.
me up here.
Yeah.
It could be when you're in a call with a client. Does this
Mm-hmm.
client feel right for me?
Mm-hmm.
Because, part of when we're in that scarcity or hustle, like, we're like, yes, I'll work with you, even though that gut is like,
Mm-hmm.
and then those clients,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had a few, and those clients are just like, oh my goodness, like, I
Right.
am not the right coach for you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so it gives us that guidance. It tells us what we're here to do. It also tells us how we're here to work.
Mm-hmm.
So generators and manifesting generators, we have that sustainable energy. We can we can push through. Not that we should. If it's
Mm-hmm.
lighting us up, that's our yes. But if we're saying yes to what should be a no, we can
Mm-hmm.
go into what's called functional burnout, where we just kind of lose the joy for things.
Yeah.
Now, if I totally lost my train of thought there, sorry.
It's
So
okay.
if we are manifesting generators or generators, and again, using that gut response to help guide us, it is decreasing that resistance that we could meet by working with clients that might not be right for us, or
Mm-hmm.
believing that we have to hustle and make it happen versus working with the universe. It's kind of like this, well, I know better. I know better than the universe how to create this. When there's this
Right.
map back to trusting our
Mm-hmm.
intuition. Now, do you need human design? No. I mean, there is, you're an example, beautifully aligned coaches and healers that have no idea what their human design is other than I'm a generator, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there's so many of us that don't have that alignment, don't have that internal knowing of what's right for us. And so human design can be a tool, it can be a map. For me, it gives me like the structure my brain craves, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
While it gives me a path to going forward. So if things show up for me, I can also use it to be like, oh, like, of course I'm triggered
Yeah.
by this because this is here. Like,
Yeah.
if we go beyond type into the deeper layers, like, of
Mm-hmm.
course, like, I'm thinking about this because I have
Mm-hmm.
this here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how it can be used in business in different ways.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like it's so affirming, right? It's affirming to our experience and it allows us to, first of all, not think there's something wrong with us or that we're crazy if we're, experiencing the world that way, but then also how do we use that to our benefit instead of like letting it be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that over here when you have that gut feeling, well, actually, yeah, I really do want to
Right.
do this thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, I
Yes.
like that.
And that reminds me what I was going to say before, actually, which is, like I said, generators and manifesting generators have that energy as long as they're following that gut response to keep going.
Hmm.
Now, manifestors are like cheetahs. They can like be out of the gate speed, but then they need a cycle of downtime. It's like the cycle
Hmm.
of creation and rejuvenation. Creation, rejuvenation.
Yeah,
Projectors need a lot of rest. Like they're like holding up the web of humanity, right? Like
right,
I
because their
see
bucket is
everything. Yeah,
they
so they
gotta
can like be exhausted just like laying on the couch. So like they need more rest than you would think. Like my son needs more rest.
mm,
And knowing that, I'm like, yeah, of course. Like when we go on vacation, I know that he's going to need downtime after we do something. If he pushes
right.
himself on vacation, I know he's going to crash for a week when we get home. And I'm not
Yeah,
judging that. I'm not trying to, because the other three of us are all manifesting generators. We have more energy than
right.
most people combined, right? To go,
Mm,
go, go. And so projectors just need, but they can be more efficient in like 3 hours, which is
mhm.
kind of their optimal work time, which is why being an entrepreneur can be so great for anyone, but for
Mm-hmm.
projectors, because they can control that. And then
Mm-hmm.
taking that rest time and recognizing, like, oh, it's okay that I need to rest.
Yeah.
Like, let me design my business around resting.
Yeah. Oh, this is so good.
And then reflectors understanding just how their energy works. And they're a lunar being. So the other types are solar beings. They're a lunar being, which
Mm.
means they have no. So in human design, based on the chakras, there's 9 centers, and
Mm.
reflectors are the type that has no centers defined. So their
Mm.
energy is constantly changing based on who they're with, the planetary activation. And so learning how to, over the course of a month, understand how their energy works helps them. Oh, these are manifesting days when I'm initiating and creating. Oh,
That's
these are
so
generator
cool.
days where I'm working. Oh, these are
Hmm.
reflector days where I'm like, guiding.
Resting.
And these
Hmm.
are reflector days, right? So it gives them an understanding of how their energy works.
This is so fascinating. Oh my gosh, I could like sit here all day and chat. So you have created something amazing. I've got it, and I'm super excited to be able to share it with our people. You've created a guide for every single one of the human design types. So we're going to
Yes.
actually share the link below.
Mhm.
And you also have a link to take the quiz. You can find out what you want, who you are, like your human
Yep.
design. And it will
Yep.
also send you the guide for your specific human design. And then you also have something else coming up. You've got an amazing training masterclass coming up. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's going to be like a over 5 days, because as I said, human design is this multi-layer system. If I try to throw it all at you at once, it's going to
Yeah.
just overwhelm you. So we're going to break it down into these 5 steps, because
Hmm.
again, because it can be so overwhelming, I want to break it down so it's simpler to understand and you can go in these steps, but also geared towards women entrepreneurs and how to use it in your business. So it's really about, as I'm saying, business reimagined, like
Hmm.
creating more flow, more success, more peace, more joy in your business using human design. And part of that, excuse me, is first we like actualize to your purpose, because that's in your design. Like what
Hmm.
you the who how you are here to be. Again, not who, but how. And this
Hmm.
is 70% of the energy that you show up. But it
Hmm.
also, we can find out like what gets in the way of that.
Hmm.
Like, so for me, my my compass, so to speak, of how I am to show up in the world is like radical authenticity.
Hmm.
Now, what gets in the way of that is when I don't believe I'm supported, I will compromise my
Hmm.
authenticity and what I need or want to meet other people's needs, right?
Hmm.
And, finding that out, I was like, authenticity, like, what even is that? I was so disconnected from it
Right.
because I had gotten so good at
Hmm.
compromising and conforming. So it helps us get back into that and understand this compass, as I say, this guiding
Hmm.
light of everything that I'm coming back to, and understanding that that is my driving force.
Hmm.
And then we go into how do we synchronize? And this is all about the types and how we synchronize with the universe. And
Hmm.
then we talk about optimizing, which is going through the centers. So if we take it one layer deeper, in human design, there's 64 archetypes of human potential.
Hmm.
And this is where it guides us to our highest potential when we know how to understand that energy and how to work with that energy and how to optimize that energy. So that is what we will go into on how to understand optimizing your energy. And then how we alchemize it all together and create a story, and then how we magnetize that so that you are in your business creating a
Hmm.
soul aligned business that just feels good, so that you
Hmm.
can implement the strategies that you've learned,
Hmm.
knowing you're implementing them in a way that's right for you. This is kind of like when you can have the best strategy and it's just not working for this one client. You're just like,
Hmm.
why isn't this it works for everyone else? Why is this strategy not
Hmm.
working for them? Well, it could be that this one tweak that they
Hmm.
need as a projector, as a manifester, will help them unlock
Hmm.
everything after that, because it's not it could be that it's not the right strategy for them, but it could many times be that they're just not implementing it just quite right. And
Right.
so this can kind of help them really understand all of those pieces. So I'm so excited
This is
to be
amazing. I
sharing
will
this, to
still be
dive
there.
in and to break it down in a way that helps you understand your design. Because again,
Hmm.
it's not about learning the whole system. Like
Hmm.
I've been studying this for I don't know 5 or 6 years in general. I've been doing my own design in depth for several years. Like you don't need to understand the whole system. Yours, just
Yeah.
understand your unique type, the pieces of your chart, where you're getting stuck. Because often if somebody comes to me with like this is why I'm stuck in my business, I can typically look at the chart and be like, okay, this could be something that's going on, this could be something that's going on, this could be, and we can understand like, okay, this is the expression that you're operating in right now.
Right.
This is the higher expression. Like, so every time, for example, I'll use an example. So one of the archetypes, we call them gates, is gate
Hmm.
48. And it's really the gate of depth. It's wisdom. It's
Hmm.
just wanting to know, as you can see with human design, like going deep, right? However, the fear associated with that is the fear of not knowing enough, never knowing enough.
Hmm.
And so that can keep you from sharing. It can keep you in comparisоnism. It can keep you from trusting yourself. But now every time that little voice is like, oh, I don't know if we can do a live. I don't know if we can get on this podcast. Do you
Hmm.
know enough? I'm like, yeah, I know enough for right now. Like I know what
Yeah.
to share for right now. And I
Yeah.
can just kind of talk that down and get back into that sense of trust because human design really connects us to again how we are designed to be. And when we are rock solid in that piece of our worth,
Hmm.
comparison falls away,
Yeah.
right? It the that imposter stuff or the inner critic just doesn't have the strength or the oomph that it does. All
Hmm.
those things talking us out of doing what we know we're here to do.
Hmm.
Suddenly we have a voice for them.
This is so good. And you also have a Facebook group. So, which is so exciting because this is where you share so much valuable information as well. So we'll definitely put that link down below too. So Irene, holy cow, like amazing. So, so good. So,
Well,
for those of you that are listening, go to the link below, take the quiz, get your guide, come to the masterclass, and come join us in the Facebook group. I'm there too. I would love to say hello. Irene, so amazing. Anything else that you want to kind of share and leave our listeners with today before we come to completion?
just that if you're getting stuck on the same things over and over again, it's very likely that you're not doing a thing wrong. It's not you at all. There is likely a very clear, energetic
Hmm.
reason for what you're bumping up against, and human design can be the guide to unlocking that.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, go ahead, click the subscribe so that you can be notified when we've got new guests on Soulful Abundance with Chris Williams. Again, all of the links to connect with Irene are down below, and we will see you back here next time. Bye.